and so it passed the Senate. 3 dissenters on the Republican side: Collins of Maine, Paul of Kentucky, Tillis of North Carolina. They did not like the bill. So now it goes back to the House for a vote. And the House bill wasn't the same as the Senate bill, but I do expect that the House will pass this. 218 votes are needed. We're as close the first time. But any congressperson who wants to run again on the GOP ticket, voting against the bill is done. So just keep that in mind. The pressure is enormous. And that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. So this is President Trump's D-Day. Has to get this bill. As I've explained a number of times, and I'm sorry to be repetitive, but this is very, very important. It's really not about the bill per se, because the bill is loaded with federal spending that's non-vital. It's called pork, and it's there. And that's why Elon Musk doesn't like it. That's why Rand Paul doesn't like it. That's been the case since World War II. But I'm not making an excuse. That the bill is just ridiculous, and some of the stuff that we, the taxpayer, are going to have to fund. But this point in history is key. So if the bill fails at the end of the year, all our taxes go up and go up significantly. Okay? If that happens, there will be a recession because consumers are strapped now. They can't afford to pay any more taxes to the government, state, local, whatever it may be. Can't. So that there'll be a severe pullback in our economy, which will doom President Trump. He's done. If that happens, because he'll lose the midterms, both houses. So now it's not just a vote about pork and overloaded federal spending. It's a vote about, do you want to keep this president or not? Okay? In power. So I know where do I want Biden back and the Democrats? Not a single Democrat voted for this bill. And the reason is because if they voted for it, they'd be shunned out of the Democratic Party. So we don't really have, freedom of conscience anymore. So there's 2 big things attached to this bill that are just a scandal. The first you've heard over and over and over again. It cuts Medicaid. It does not cut Medicaid payments. Doesn't. But the media lies about it over and over and over, so that not smart people who don't watch or listen to this broadcast, think that Medicaid's going to get cut. And all these people are going to be thrown into the streets with no medical care. Okay. What the bill does, and again, we have explained it and explained it and explained it, is it tightens up people's eligibility. All you have to do to be eligible to get Medicaid is to search for a job or volunteer for a job for 20 hours a week. That's it. You either have to look or volunteer. 100% of people should be able to do that. I shouldn't say that. 95%. There are 5% who are medically debilitated. They can't do it. And there is an exemption for them, a medical exemption. If you are medically frail, that's what the bill says, you don't have to do that. But the layabouts, okay, and they number millions, have to do it or they don't get Medicaid. That's the so-called Medicaid cuts, okay? So when you hear that on the media, and yesterday ABC News did a piece, and they said that older people are not going to be able to look for a job. That is a deception by ABC News because they didn't mention the volunteer aspect or the medical exemption. ABC News just didn't even mention it. I mean, come on. I used to work for that organization. I was proud to work there. It is now a dishonest operation. The second lie is that this bill aids tax cuts for the rich. No, it doesn't. It carries on the tax cuts that was passed in 2017. There aren't any other tax cuts with the exception of the tips. Up to $25,000, you can take a deduction. So my son is a waiter this summer. He gets tips. On his income tax, he'll be able to deduct, okay, a lot of that, and so he'll keep the tips. Also, for senior citizens paying tax on Social Security, you'll get a bigger deduction. Anything wrong with those two things? Trump promised the tips thing, so he's delivering on that. Right? But it doesn't aid the rich. It's Bernie Sanders. I mean, the guy just goes on and he just says this stuff that's just patently untrue. He knows it's untrue. Okay? Oh, it's for the billionaires. 8 years we've had this system. Okay? All you're doing is continuing it. So those two things are paramount in the Americans not understanding what this bill actually says and does. Will it pass in the House? Probably. These 218 votes, and that's coming up. Now, last night I was on News Nation, and Cuomo and Vittert, were pounding Senator Ron Johnson, who doesn't like all the pork. Johnson and I share that. But he voted for the bill because of the Trump danger. He doesn't want to destroy the Trump administration. Vittert and Cuomo criticized Johnson for doing that. Here's what I said. Go. The bill is a bunch of bull, but there's no choice in this time in history. The Democrats don't want to cut any entitlement spending or supervise who gets it or keep it away from undocumented people or do anything. They'll cut border funding. They'll cut defense. That's all. There's not one Democrat on Capitol Hill, not one, who will vote for this bill because it doesn't cut Medicaid. That's a lie that's spewed out over and over by the corrupt TV journalists, so-called, all right? It supervises. It does exactly what Bill Clinton did in 92. Right. Saying if you don't look for work and you're able-bodied and you don't have a kid in the house, you're not getting it, okay? And that is fair to the hardworking people who are paying their taxes and don't want a bunch of drug-addicted layabouts gaming the system. Am I clear, as Jack Nicholson once said?
Yeah, crystal clear, Jack.
Okay. So it was 96 that the Cash Assistance Act passed under Clinton. But there was, Newt Gingrich was the speaker, and there was this movement that began in 92 to clean this up. And Clinton, to his credit, did clean it up a bit. All right, he did impose requirements to get cash assistance. Quote, recipients must work after 2 years on assistance, with few exceptions. 25% of all families in each state must be engaged in work activities, rising to 50 fiscal year 2002. Single parents must participate for at least 20 hours per week for the first year, increasing to 30 hours per week for fiscal year 2000. Two-parent families must work 35 hours per week by July 1st, 1997. Okay? So Clinton got it. Everybody got it at the time, that you just can't have lazy, addicted, whatever people gaming the system. Now, if this bill passes, it will save about $1 trillion, according to the Commonwealth Fund and the Congressional Budget Office, $1 trillion over 10 years. That will be saved by the federal government. Obviously, with a $36 trillion debt, we need that. Now, is it going to add to that debt over the same period of time? The $1 trillion savings is just Medicaid, just Medicaid. The other spending will increase the debt if President Trump doesn't do what I am suggesting, and that is, sell oil from federal land like Anwar and use all of the profits to pay down the debt and use all of the tariff profits. $1 billion a day is coming into the U.S. Treasury from around the world. All of that money should be earmarked to bring the national debt down. Next time I see the president or talk to him, I am going to mention that. I hope he will get behind it because that can bring it down. All right? So, summing up, not one, as I predicted last night on News Nation, Democrat voted for it because if they did vote for the bill, they'd be drummed out of the party. Okay? And if the Republicans in the House vote against it, they're going to be drummed out of the Republican Party. That's the way this system is now. It is vicious. This is D-Day for Donald Trump. He must get this passed. So, if you want to keep him as president, all right, an effective president, a president that can get legislature done, okay, then you have to vote for the bill. There's no other choice. And that's the memo.